My name is Gerald Whitaker. I'm 70 years old. For 40 years, I designed buildings that reshaped the skyline of Chicago. Steel, glass, concrete. I understood structures. I could look at a foundation and tell whether it would stand for a century or crumble in a decade. But I never realized the deepest crack in my life was forming inside my own home. And it took 3 days before my daughter's wedding for that crack to split everything open. It was Tuesday afternoon. I had gone to the pool house to grab my medication. The sun was bright. The gardeners were trimming hedges for Saturday's ceremony, and white chairs were already stacked neatly on the lawn. Everything looked perfect. Then I heard laughter. Low, intimate. I stepped closer to the pool house window, and I saw my wife, Patricia. Her hands were gripping the collar of Tyler's shirt. Tyler, the man who was supposed to marry my daughter Sarah in 3 days. My breath stopped. They weren't arguing. They weren't comforting each other. They were kissing. Not the kind of mistake you explain away. The kind you plan. I heard Tyler's voice clearly through the open window. 3 more days, he said casually. Once the trust paperwork clears, we're set. Patricia smiled. And the old man? She asked. Tyler laughed. He won't be a problem much longer. That laugh. I felt my chest tighten, not from age, but from betrayal so sharp it felt physical. I was about to burst through the door when someone grabbed me from behind and pulled me back into the shadows. Dad. Stop. It was my son, Brandon. The same son Patricia had convinced me was reckless, unstable, jealous. The same son I hadn't spoken to in years. I've been gathering proof, he whispered. But there's something bigger you need to know. We hid in the garage among my classic cars. Brandon handed me a folder. Inside were photos, bank transfers, fake business filings. Tyler wasn't just some charming fitness trainer. He and Patricia had worked together before. Different states. Different victims. Same pattern. She played caretaker. He played the charming future husband. They targeted older widowers and wealthy families. They didn't just cheat. They drained. Then disappeared. My stomach turned. And you're sure? I asked. Brandon nodded. But there's more. He showed me lab results. My recent blood work. Medication analysis. Patricia had been replacing my heart medication with high-dose sedatives, making me foggy, forgetful, weak. So if I accused her, no one would believe me. I had thrown my own son out because I trusted her over him. That realization hurt more than anything else. I was wrong, I said quietly. Brandon didn't smile. We don't have time for that, he replied. They're accelerating. That evening, I sat at the dinner table with them. I smiled. I let my hands shake. I played fragile. Tyler discussed honeymoon plans. Patricia cut my steak like I was helpless. Sarah was glowing with excitement, showing seating charts and floral arrangements. She looked so happy, so unaware. When Patricia slid my checkbook toward me and asked me to sign a $60,000 catering advance, I understood. They were testing how much control they had. I let the pen tremble in my fingers. I'll sign it tomorrow, I said weakly. Tyler's jaw tightened. Patricia's smile froze for a second too long. They were losing patience. That night, Brandon's hidden camera recorded Tyler downstairs on the phone. If he doesn't sign tomorrow, Tyler muttered, we may need to speed things up. Speed things up. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I made my decision. Not anger. Not violence. Strategy. I invited everyone to a family blessing dinner 2 nights before the wedding. Extended relatives. Friends. Even a few of my legal colleagues. Patricia thought it was sentimental. Tyler thought it was foolish. But they agreed. They believed they had already won. At the dinner, I stood slowly and tapped my glass. My family. I began, voice shaky by design. Before Sarah begins this new chapter, I want to share something important. Brandon dimmed the lights. The projector turned on, and the screen lit up with footage. The pool house. The conversation. The words. Once the trust paperwork clears, he won't be a problem much longer. The room went silent. Sarah's smile faded. Patricia stood up. This is fake, she cried. He's confused. But Brandon stepped forward with documents. Bank records. Alias identities. Prior investigations. Even proof of Patricia's still valid marriage to a man in Nevada. Bigamy. Fraud. Conspiracy. Tyler lunged toward the projector. 2 of my attorney friends blocked him. Someone had already called the police. Sarah looked at her mother like she'd never seen her before. Was any of it real? She asked softly. Patricia had no answer. Tyler tried to leave. He didn't make it past the front gate. The wedding was canceled. The flowers were removed. The guests went home. Patricia and Tyler were arrested on charges of fraud and attempted financial exploitation. The investigation later revealed multiple victims across 3 states. Brandon stayed, not because I asked, but because he wanted to. It took weeks for Sarah to process everything, but she did, and she was stronger for it. As for me, I learned something no blueprint ever taught me. Buildings fail when small cracks are ignored. Families do too. But foundations can be reinforced if you face the damage instead of denying it. 3 days before my daughter's wedding, my world collapsed. But in the rubble, I rebuilt something stronger. Trust, truth, and the relationship with my son I almost lost forever. If this story moved you, remember, sometimes the biggest betrayal hides behind the warmest smile. And sometimes justice requires patience, not rage.